The United Nations says it's extremely concerned about the level of violence in Burundi. The human rights chief for West Africa has reported over 250 extrajudicial killings since April. Scott Campbell says the international community is less equipped to deal with the violence than it was in Rwanda before the 1994 genocide.
We actually had a United Nations peacekeeping operation on the ground and mandated in Rwanda at the time the genocide took place. And in Burundi today, we have nothing at all in terms of a political presence or a peacekeeping presence. We have several UN agencies, UNICEF, UNDP, our own office, and others are on the ground. But in a sense, we're even more poorly positioned today to respond to what's the warning signs that we're seeing than we were in 1994.
Well, TRT World's Fidelis Mba has been following the story, and he joins me live in the studio. Fidelis, this is extremely worrying, isn't it? Ethnic tensions are rising. It has all the hallmarks of Rwanda.
Yeah, because based on the ethnic composition of Burundi, which is similar to that of Rwanda, we have about 85% of the population in Burundi are Hutus, and about 14% are Tutsis. So the minority Tutsis have been the ones who've been targeted as opposition, because since the president, Pierre Nkurunziza, who is a Hutu, announced his intention to run for a third term and eventually won, the Tutsis, who are mainly the opposition, have been protesting against this. They never supported his third term agenda, and which is why now the president has ordered that there should be a crackdown on people who are holding arms, because most of the protests happen in Tutsi-controlled areas.
Now, as I understand it, the UN has no presence on the ground. If something kicks off and escalates further, is there any chance that they can get a handle on the situation?
It might actually be very dangerous for the region, for the East Africa region, because Burundi has boundaries with DRC, which is already in crisis, and also Rwanda, which also potentially there might be a crisis, because Paul Kagame, the president, has already warned that there might be a genocide in Burundi. And remember, Paul Kagame is a Tutsi, so he is in support of the minorities who are being targeted. So this might actually escalate. And then you have some of the refugees who have also fled to Tanzania. Around that axis, some have also fled to Uganda. So if anything happens, it might be very difficult, because Burundi is landlocked. So you might have to come in by air, because they would definitely want to control the land border. So flying into the air, they might also close their airspace. And before help might come, maybe hundreds of thousands might have been killed.
Is it possible for Rwanda to do more? I mean, they've lived through a genocide. The country has rebuilt itself. They don't want to forget the past, but there's been reconciliation. I visited Rwanda and saw that with my own eyes. Should Paul Kagame be able to sort of step in and offer advice?
Well, before now, Paul Kagame was in very good terms with Pierre Nkurunziza of Burundi. But recently, their friendship broke down, and which is why Paul Kagame has been highly critical, even though he too is also facing a similar political crisis in his country, because he is also going to run for another term, even though, trying to amend the constitution. So for now, he's not really offering anything. He's just like saying, look, you guys should stop this. And Pierre Nkurunziza of Burundi is not taking it lightly. He feels that he's supporting the minority Tutsis who have been opposing his third-term ambition. So before now, there was a mediation by Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, who was sent in before the elections, but that didn't yield any positive result.
Okay, Fidelis Mba, thank you.